I never done this before, man. I'm learning. The comments will come on here, Joe, or no?
On YouTube.
Where? Oh, so I have to read the comments here? Why? I won't be able to see the comments?
If you go on your YouTube channel, you will. You just do a new tab.
How? Hold on one second, Tim. What do I do?
Just go to your channel on.
Right here?
Yeah.
YouTube. Here we go. Bear with us. Blood on the Razor Wire TV. We're trying to get this thing together. Let me see. Bear with us. Blood on the Razor Wire TV. We're trying to get this thing together. Mute it. Let me see. Right here. Boom. Okay, there we go. I think I'm getting this together, everybody. I'm still learning. But let's get it, man. Tim, you all right?
I'm good, buddy. Thanks
Can
for
you hear
having
me? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, man.
Okay, so, all right, everybody. Blood on the Razor Wire TV. A bunch of people asked us to bring you on. They wanted to ask you questions. Hopefully, everybody will get in on here. I don't know if you've seen that chick that helped the dude escape, that Casey White. Did you see that?
Oh, yeah. I mean, geez, what do you think? I think that's an accomplice. I don't think he took her hostage.
No, they captured him. They just captured him, right?
Oh, I know that.
Yeah, breaking news. Let me see. I'm going to see what these people are saying. So listen, man, everybody that tuned in, right? They wanted a bunch of questions, so we'll wait for the people to come in, man. We'll see how many people we get in here. I'm learning this stuff, so I want everybody to bear with me. 92 in the building. We got 24 likes. We need people to hit that like button just so everyone knows. I brought the lieutenant back on. We're going to do a live because people are like, we want a part 3 and a 4. And people wanted to ask questions. So, Tim, you're back on the show. We're going to talk about that. We'll talk a little bit about this chick that helped with that escape. Curtis Lux, we appreciate you. The chick shot herself, bro.
No shit.
She's in the hospital in serious condition. I wonder if she died, man, or if she shot herself in the head or whatever.
Where'd they find him?
In Indiana. They ended up in Indiana.
That's crazy.
So that's
hey,
crazy. Yeah.
Hey, I got stories for days with the dirty female staff. I'll never understand it, man.
Yeah, so what do you think, man? Like I told people, this is how it works. Like dudes will, some people, Tim, like some of these dudes actually meet these chicks and like really like them. But in most cases, what do you think they're doing?
Oh yeah, well the inmate is running a scam. He's going to say whatever it takes. You know what I mean? I remember there was an officer that was in his office and he had this orderly, and the orderly was probably spent a month every day in there cleaning and would catch on to the officer's mood and then kind of started conversations and shit, and then ended up turning him for dope and all kinds of shit, so they play off emotions. This chick obviously wasn't getting attention at home, more than likely, and this guy fed off that.
And now when they capture him, she ends up shooting herself. Trey Lee, we appreciate you. Curtis Lux, these people are donating, so I got to give them a shout out, man. Let them know we appreciate them.
Hey, bro, fuck, man. Out of embarrassment, man. She just probably, her family, her peers, she couldn't take it.
Do you think she was worried about going to jail too? Like, damn, I'm going to jail for this.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and how publicized it was. Yeah, it was probably an embarrassment to herself. She wasn't always bad. This guy just turned her.
This one guy says, if my wife went to work in a prison, I would leave her immediately.
That I agree with.
You good? Thank you. I had to have my brother, my wife's brother, my brother-in-law come over here so everyone knows, like, I bought this StreamYard thing. I bought it a couple days ago just so we could do this. So I had to have him come over here and teach me. And I'm probably gonna have to have him teach me 3 or 4 times before I get it together. But nice. We're on here now, man. Live, Blood on the Razor Wire TV. I think I'm gonna be able to figure it out. Sam, man, we appreciate you. But yeah, man, I think the chick shot herself because, number one, I think she didn't want to go to jail. Number two, she feels like her life's over with because, look, man, let's just keep it real.
She's done. Career's done. Life is done. She was embarrassed. Yeah.
And this is the other thing too, Tim. Like, she probably, I mean, obviously for her to go that far, dude, I'm just keeping it real. Like, that she probably really loved this dude, like fell in love with the dude, and the dude probably didn't love her. And I thought that kid's going to prison for the rest of his life in one of the most dangerous prison systems in the country, right? Alabama's excruciatingly dangerous, bro. I can't believe that I thought he was going to go out shooting, man. I got it wrong, man. I thought he was going to hold court in the street. You know, you hear guys say, I'm holding court in the street next time.
But you know what I mean? He's kind of going to be this hero, man. He turned a cop, you know?
Yeah, but I mean, in Alabama, dude, it's, you know, I had a black dude down from Alabama. He talked about how racist it was there and how, you know, white dudes have a hard time over there. People are getting, black dudes have a hard time over there. People are getting stabbed. People are getting killed. So
hey, she recovers. She's going to be right behind him.
Yeah. You know what, though? When stuff like that happens, I mean, they are in Alabama where it's strict justice, but I think they probably give her 2-3 years in prison, kind of like that Joyce Mitchell with the Clinton Correctional Facility up here in where I'm from in Western New York. She got a 2 1/3 to 7, I think. She probably wouldn't have got that much time, I don't think. What do you think?
I don't think she's going to get a lot of time, but her life career's over. You know what I mean?
Yeah, she was retiring anyway, and really, she did everything she did was for this. Like, she just lost everything, dude. She sold her house for $95,000 in a market where houses are like outrageous. So they grabbed that cash. They probably spent a bunch of it because they bought a Jeep, then they bought a truck. The truck ends up flipping over, so she loses all that. She probably loses her retirement, I would think, because she put in her retirement papers, but they never got filed. She loses all that, right? Retirement,
yeah.
Everything, you think?
Yeah. She'll lose all that. There was the place I retired at. There was this chick that, you know, was kind of like she jumped from officer to officer, but she just picked up her 9 safety position, and she met some dude on the rec yard, some white boy, and fell in love. And he was due to release. He ended up getting out and blew through her savings, the government savings we have, blew through that. Yeah, blew through that and then dumped her. It's crazy.
Do you think anybody ever ends up falling in love, man? Kind of like, what's that show where they like bring all these, The Bachelor? Do you think they ever find true love, any of these cops that flip?
I mean, in their own minds, yeah. Yeah, but it's just, they're using them. They're easy marks, big time.
Definitely crazy. One of the people on here, because I seen it a minute ago, Laura said, where did she shoot herself? We don't know yet, Laura, but I'm sure that'll be coming up. Some other people I'm going to talk a little bit about this video I did the other day too, Tim, but we're going to, you know, anybody got any questions for Tim, shoot them. I'm going to ask him. I'll read them to him, and I'm sure he's going to answer them. I mean, you guys know he worked with, you know, Barry Mills, a bunch of the Aryan Brotherhood dudes that were in, you know, the shoe when he worked over there. He's been a bunch of places. Anything you guys want to know?
Yeah, there was a guy made a comment, and yeah, I'm not well versed on a lot of stuff as far as like the ADX and policies. It's things I heard about, things that Mills and Bingham told me. But the guy, I forget his name, but thanks for give him a shout out for clarifying the special management measures or administrative measures. I guess they can send out mail and get mail, but it's seriously screened. So yeah, it's yeah, your guests, viewers, they had a lot of good questions.
Let me address a couple things real quick. So Country said, did Tim ever get bribed?
No. I was approached in 1993. I was new. I was on the compound, and this black dude that was running enforcement for the Crips. We had a large group of Crips there, large population, and he came at me, and he had been my orderly, so he used that, and he said, "Hey man, I'm working." He was real open. He's like, "I'm working with this officer over in J Unit, and now he's kind of branching out to the Hispanics, and I kind of want a one-on-one relationship, you know?" And I said, "Okay, well, you know, how much money we talking?" And he paid off an officer in the visiting room. He didn't disclose who, but he would run cash through the visiting room. He gave me his sister's contact number. And for me, I was like, oh shit, I'm like trying to make a name for myself, try to get promoted or something. So I did this long email, or not email, there's no computers, a memo. I typed up this memo, sent it to SIS. And there were 2 black dudes running SIS at the time. And I didn't hear anything for like a week. I think I took a couple days off. I came back, and this dude they called Tank, he came at me again and was like, "Hey, you gonna call my sister or what?" And I'm thinking, I'm new, so I'm like, SIS, they didn't get this. Well, one of them went on vacation, and a buddy of mine that had been in the bureau for a long time, he was a case manager, was substituting in SIS to help with the caseload. And he found my memo and was like, "What the fuck? Why was this stashed at the bottom?" They locked the dude up, and he was making threats at the time. Like I told you, our old shoe, the inmates could push out the windows. They were the old-fashioned windows that, pivoted. And every time he kind of saw me on the compound, he would yell. And
this was at Terminal. Was this at Terminal Island? Because people are asking, where did they probably didn't see the other two interviews? Where did you work? Was it feds or state? You worked in the federal system.
Feds. Yeah, this is at Terminal Island. So he was an enforcer for this Crip that was in charge. This dude was a monster, man. Worked on the South Yard, and I was like, oh shit! I just took business away from him, and dudes were telling me like, hey man, you got to look out. This dude's probably going to be gunning for you. And so it got to me to the point where he was in visiting, and I saw him come out of visiting. He was probably about 6'7", and I said, fuck it, I'm going to just approach him. And I went up to him and I said, hey man, are we good? I'm the guy. Tank's locked up, man. And out of my surprise, he was like, hey, dude, you're good. That dude was out of control. I was just looking for an angle to get rid of him. So yeah, they tried, but yeah, I never bought into it. But
there's a bunch of people asking questions, but go ahead.
Oh, real quick. But I don't blame the inmates. You know what I mean? If I was an inmate, I'd be running that scam. I'd be doing whatever I could. And it's your job to, whether you want to run with it as an officer or you want to just, squash it. And most of the time, all the time I squashed it. But yeah, I don't blame the inmates at all.
I'm going to read a couple of these and I'll shoot you some of the questions. Bam said, hey, I dated 2 guards and I loved them both while I was locked up. When I was free, not so much. Joe asked a question. Let's see. Oh God, Joe, why are you asking questions like that? Joe wants to know, did you ever hit any chicks up that worked there?
Oh, that I worked with?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
He writes, Tim, you ever bust a female guard's cheeks in the broom closet? Jesus.
What? Actually, there was this psych intern. She came in the shoe one day and it was a slow day. And we went upstairs to the medical room. Yeah. Yep.
Right in the prison. Love during lockup. Let me ask you this. Tim, what was the worst thing you saw happen to an inmate? Country, one of my number one dudes, him and certified. Tim says, what was the worst thing you saw happen to an inmate?
The joint I retired at, there was an older guy on range, range 2 or 3. And we had 3 heavy hitters in there. They were white power, not AB, but they were connected somehow. I think they might've been Peni. And they went to rec. One of them's at the ADX right now. I think I brought it up in the last interview. But they convinced the officers working in SHU that, hey, this guy's good. We need a 4th to do burpees or whatever. And we were talking about that the last time about how you take the restraints off inmates going into a rec cage. And as soon as they put they bought it. As soon as they put that old man in there, they beat his ass. I couldn't even recognize his face. I mean, it was just, it was mush. They life flighted him. They were all charged with attempted murder. The guy survived, I think, but he didn't even look like a person. That was a rough one.
Will Bixby asks, I'm going to answer this too. We'll both answer this one. Was MS-13 as violent as they say? Where I was at, when I was in Big Sandy, when I was actually in an immigration facility too, pre-trial, some dudes escaped from my county jail. They moved us all to this immigration place. Them MS-13 dudes were as violent and dangerous as they say, at least in my perspective. At the prisons that you worked at, were they violent?
So at the pens, yeah. So coming up in the bureau at TI in the 90s, the MS-13 wasn't around. They hadn't come over to the States. Or if they had, they hadn't been incarcerated. The place I retired from, we had 2 that were just kind of sneaking around on the yard. They knew that they were outnumbered, and I don't know if you recall, but there was a hit between the MA and MS-13 where the MS-13 got the drop and either seriously assaulted or killed an MA. So bureau-wide, they said, hey, if you got any MS-13 dudes on your compound, lock them up. So I remember we had 2. It was about a year before I retired, and we locked them up. So I never experienced any kind of violence or anything with them.
So Katrina asks, and I know the answer to this too. Do the officers know where a person is going during transport? My son is at MDC Brooklyn. They told him he's going to a camp somewhere in the Midwest, but wouldn't tell him where. So when you're working the shoe and you come by with that clipboard, dude's like, yo, man, am I designated? You're not supposed to tell the prisoners, but you can tell if they're designated, right? And where they're going.
Yeah. So when I was a shoe lieutenant and I did rounds, I had my clipboard. And that was the biggest thing with all my population in shoe is nobody knew what the fuck was going on when they were in there, why they were in there. Some did. When they were getting out, how far the investigation's going, are they getting transferred? And so I'd go by with a list and I would tell them like, hey, you're designated. And I would, if the dude was a solid dude and never gave me issues, I'd be like, take a guess. And between case management and, some kites tossed to him, he kind of maybe had an idea. And I would be like, guess. And if he guessed the region, I'd be like, yep, you're going to that region.
Some cops will even tell you, man, like if they're all right, we should be like, yo, man, because everybody in the shoe that's leaving wants to know where they're going. Some dudes are like, damn, man, I'm leaving.
Well,
I'm not going to Victorville. You know what I mean?
The other thing is that if the bus pull is that night at say midnight and it's 7:00 my time and shoe during rounds and he's getting pulled, I'm going to tell him where the fuck he's going. He's not going to have time to make a phone call. So I'll let him know.
Lil Tim wants to know, have you ever hit an inmate cuffed up?
Never. Back in the 90s, if we got one running his mouth, in fact, my buddy, he just retired from USP Victorville. When we were running the shoe, there were no cameras and got mouthy. There were times where we'd get charged up. The inmate would get charged up and put him in the rec yard. And one of us or both of us would take our belts off. And sometimes they got their licks in, sometimes we did. And then it was an even score. Like, all right, no more mouth out of you. But I've never assaulted an inmate while cuffed.
While cuffed. Listen, I mean, if that's the way it used to work back then, cops would take off their belt. I mean, I told people that, I fought this big ass honky. He was from Michigan.
It's respect, bro. Like, hey man, I'm not gonna make the advantages better for me. Let's get down.
I fought the cop in the laundry room, and when we were done, I'm not going to say he won or I won, but we were both done, out of breath. And I was glad. I think, I was happy he was done, and he was happy I was done. We were both glad of it, but it used to be that way.
We'd always carry our sunglasses and shoe because if we got a few good licks on us, I'd have to throw my sunglasses on so when the seg lieutenant would come around, he wouldn't see I got dinged up.
That's crazy, right? Some of the wild things, man, that you see in federal prison from violence, from, people doing crazy shit. Someone wants to know if you were ever around any serial killers. I seen it come by. Man, I got to scroll up to see who wrote that, but what were they like? If you were around you were around killers, you were around Barry Mills, you were around, you were around real killers.
So that on a side note, we can get into it later if you want, but before the Marine Corps, I went to college and I had a professor, a psychology, sociology professor, and we were supposed to do a paperwork, a project, and you could pick, and I picked serial killers. And so, yeah, I know all about them. I even contacted some by mail to try to get info back then. But the closest, besides Mills and those guys, when I first hired on, there was a guy, I forget his name. He was all over the paper. He was a physician in Long Beach that killed his family. He was indicted for killing his 2 daughters and his wife, and he blamed it on the Manson crew. And Jeffrey McDonald killed family, and we had him in Chew. And I think it was like my first week in the Bureau, and then he left not long after that.
My buddy Jason, right? He always sends me ideas and helps me out a lot. He wants to know if Robert Blinky Griffin was with the other California ABs. Do you know who Robert Blinky Griffin was?
Oh, well, yeah, he was on the tier. He was on the second tier. Yeah, we talked about him. He was the one that his wife was an attorney. She met him at California Men's Colony and spent her entire life trying to defend him. But yeah, he was up there with Slocum and Turflinger and all those guys. And so, yeah, he was up there. He was along with John Stinson. They were both, that dude that was spearheading the death penalty, put the death penalty on those two. And, of course they beat it, but, he got another life sentence out of it. So yeah, he was up on tier 2 next to Mills the whole time.
What was he like, man? Was he a good dude or what?
He was a good dude, just like Stinson. Real and Slocum, Turflinger, all them dudes, they were real respectful, never caused any issues. They just worked out in their cells, took bird baths, ate. Stinson did yoga. None of those guys were disrespectful. It was kind of like some of the more mainline ABs from Pelican Bay. I want to say Chance and Latrell, Grizzle. Those were the ones that were like banging the doors and, yelling and stuff. But yeah, for the most part, yeah, they were all really respectful.
You think any of them guys deserved a second chance? Any of them guys you worked with? Wild question, right?
I mean, it sucks because, AB protocol, it's like, here's, I think Blinky, he was at California Men's Colony, and he got sucked into that whole, where the white dudes are the minority, we got to stick together here, and they inducted him into the AB, and then he had to put in work, and, it was, I don't know. I would probably say some of them, they're not like serial killers. They're not demented psychopaths in my eyes when I talk to them, you know what I mean? They were just doing what they do.
Do you think Barry Mills deserved to get out of prison?
Mills, I would say no, because he started the whole thing. See, a lot of people in the comments before were talking about, well, Barry Mills was federal, and Slocum and Blinky and Stinson, they were state. Well, you got to remember that they were all state. Mills and Bingham started this shit in San Quentin in the 60s, and that's a state joint. They just, just like they portray in some of the movies, when Bingham and Gibson and Mills picked up Fed cases, they were like, okay, we're going to bring this to the feds and we're going to branch out to the feds. But ultimately, Mills started it.
So he didn't have to get permission from the state guys to do anything because he was the boss, right?
He appointed them dudes. Now, as far as programs, like when I talked to him, I said, hey, man, these guys, these state dudes from Pelican Bay, some of them are out of control. And he goes, well, they got their own program. They're the state commission, man. I'll shoot a kite down there and see if I can, calm them down or whatever. But ultimately, they answered to Mills and Bingham, even though they were state.
So, Mills could be like, look, man, them are the state dudes, bro. But really, if he wanted to put it down, he could be like, yo, bro, relax. And they would listen, right?
And I think he did put it down because after a couple weeks, it was kind of like, I didn't go back there on the top tier and be like, Mills, you got to fucking handle this and all loud. I just said, hey, man, I need a favor. We're respectful to you guys. And I'm sure he shot down a kite to him. I know he did.
So Country, my dude Country, right, is my guy right here. He says, I'll be the one to ask. What happens to Chomos in prison? He wants you to answer it. I could answer it, but he wants you to answer it.
A lot less than what I think should be done. Like I said, some of the viewers, there was a case. I was never obviously a fan of them. I was sick to my stomach. I had kids. I couldn't stand those fuckers. And we talked, I don't know, maybe a year before I retired. There was he was a Nazi lowrider associate that I had met 20 years ago, and he hit my new joint right before I retired, man. So it was like, I don't know. I mean, a lot of people might laugh or talk shit, but it was like seeing an old friend, because I used to talk to that dude all the time. And I was like, fuck, are you back on a new case? And he's like, yeah. And I said, hey, and we just had a guy off the bus. Now, for the viewers, you know, these fucking chomos come off the bus, they go through a screening, and the SIS guys and admin, they do a good job about like, look, man, your case doesn't look good. Eventually it's going to hit the yard and you should go to lockup. And a lot of these guys are like, man, I can make it. I'm tough. I can do it. Nope. I refuse to sign the lockup order. Send me to the compound. And I remember this Nazi lowrider associate that I knew forever. He got a job in food service, and I was running mainline for the Count at 4:30, and he came up and we were talking, and before he took off, it was 2 weeks before I retired. I go, hey man, you got to check your roster in your unit. And he knew exactly what I was talking about. He goes, okay, thanks, man. So I don't know what happened to the dude, but yeah, justice is never served. In that case, there was another instance where I forget the guy's name. He was a kid, and he was trying to run with the white boys, and they put him on this project. There was an old guy, probably in his 60s, on a bad chomo case in their house, and they found him on the rec yard. In fact, nobody saw it. We don't have, at the old joint I was at, we didn't have any towers. It was the newer joint, and mobiles, the mobile patrol vehicle, just happened to stop and saw two dudes out there when they were clearing the yard for count. And this kid was putting in work, man, and stomped this guy. He must have stomped him for probably 20 minutes. And then we ran out there and yeah, so yeah, that guy was in shoe, always complaining, see medical, and I always ignored him. I couldn't stand those dudes. Nope.
All right, so Slug, I'll check that out, man. We'll see what's up. Let me see. Someone, these comments are coming and we're talking, so I'm missing some of them. How many people check in right off the bus over there? A lot?
At Terminal Island, no, not a lot. And the new place, yeah, we get a lot of dudes. I wouldn't say all the chomos, but there were dudes that were in bad standing, found out because obviously, being at Big Sandy, that the inmate communication is better than Mob L. So, if a dude with bad paperwork's hitting your joint, the other dudes at that joint that he's going to know 2 weeks in advance, who's coming. And this inmate, the inmates know that. So, yeah, I would probably say a bus between 15 and 25, at least 1 to 3 would check in.
Let me ask you this real quick. Who's treated worse, chomos or ex-cops? Jason, I'm going to get to you in 1 second. I got you.
Actually, chomos. We had it's really how you carry yourself. There was a ex-LA County sheriff, I want to say 93, 94, that was my compound orderly, and he got along fine because he wasn't disrespectful. But yeah, the chomos are the lowest of low. And now if you got a cop indicted and sent to its same joint where, he runs into dudes he's had arrested or planted dope on, then he's fucked. But yeah, for the most part, chomos.
So when you guys get an ex-cop on the yard, right? And I'm going to ask you Jason's question in a minute. When you get an ex-cop on the yard, are all the cops notified? Is everybody notified in like a roll call? Like, hey, this guy's going to unit F2 and he's a cop. Watch out.
No, it's all hearsay. You find out later through the grapevine.
So the administration don't let you know that you got a former cop on the compound.
Nope.
That's crazy, right?
Well, you got staff that are, I don't know. The Bureau doesn't trust staff like they should. And, you know, now in the latter part of my career, I see why.
Yeah, because they'll put it out there. Jason M. asks, not much is known about Edgar the Snail Hevley. What type of guy was he? Did you know who he was, Edgar?
Oh, yeah, Edgar the Snail Hevley. He was, so when we got the ABs, for the viewers that missed 1 and 2, when we got the ABs, when that AUSA spearheaded that stupid death penalty case, we got Bingham, we got Mills, we got Gibson, and we got Hevley. And they called him the Snail because he talked like this. You really had to listen to him. He was polite, respectful. I remember taking him to dental 2 days after we got there because he had some rotten teeth. And of course, you know, our administration, we want 4 lieutenants in the SORT team and batons and all this other shit. And he's chained down to the bed. But that dude was hard, man. They must have yanked 4 or 5 teeth, and he refused Novocaine.
Damn.
But he was a solid dude, man. I didn't hear much from him. Talked a little bit to him on the rec yard when I was out there. There they were all respectful. They're back at the ADX now. There was one of the earlier videos where there was a guy, I forget his name, I apologize, but he said that he was really good buddies with Snail and that they were, I want to say, together in Lompoc. But yeah, Hevley was a good dude.
All right, so let me see. Jesse Shomo, has there ever been someone you couldn't stand and they needed help and you just refused to help him?
Oh yeah, there were officers that would cry wolf and make my life harder as a lieutenant. You know, like we talked about. You know, the dude, like me, when I was an officer, if there was a birthday coming up and they were putting a spread out on the flats, I don't give a shit. Yeah. I don't care about onions and you know, it's a going away party. We used to have them on the compounds too. Lieutenants and the captain would approve it, but I always overlooked that shit. But there was a guy, he was getting ready to just start the unit a riot because he was out there with his he had like a mirror, one of those extended mirrors for searching, and he was picking through their fucking bowls that were on the table, and he almost started a riot. So I pulled him aside. So yeah, there's some dudes that I would be in no rush, you know, even though, you know, it's part of my job. But yeah, you know, we had our bad seeds too, like you guys. Too bad I couldn't put them in shoe.
So let me answer a couple things. Mike E says, "What's up with the title?" Mike, the title we talked about, you know, the woman that helped the prisoner escape, Casey White, and Mr. White, and their little love affair. They ended up getting caught today. She shot herself, so that's what was up with the title. The guy we have on is Tim. You know, he's a former lieutenant in the Federal Bureau of Prisons. I asked him about cop relationships with prisoners in the beginning, so that's what was up with the title. Someone else had asked if you had ever been shit down before. Oh yeah, so something going through my head in the last week or so since we last talked. There was a guy named Hellam, and I think he's at the ADX now, a big black dude, non-affiliated. He killed his wife and took her across state lines in a trunk of a car and got busted. He clocked, you know what uses of force are, right? Yeah. Yeah, in shoe. He clocked 480 uses of force at MDCLA, and they got tired of it. So our warden's like, well, send him here. So his whole thing was to shit down the tier, shit down as many cops as he could daily, and use of force teams would go in. Now he wasn't, you know, he was kind of a punk in a sense where if he broke, he would fight you. He would fight the team, and he was a big dude. But if he broke the plane of the door onto the tier, he would stop, and to him, he won. So it wasn't like he was out to kill everybody, but man, I tried to develop a rapport because I was like, man, shit down evening watch. I'm tired of smelling your shit on day watch. You know what I mean? So I'd give that dude extra food, but he was a pain in the ass. And, you know, like going to court,
you know, like, hey, Helm, you're going to court. Well, I want to eat breakfast. So as soon as you pop that bean tray, he would set out his milk cartons. Now, for the viewers, why'd we let him keep milk cartons? We had 70, 80 dudes in there. You know, you're feeding them sack lunches or you're feeding them breakfast. You don't know. You know, we didn't keep count of the milk cartons we gave them. And when we went around to pick up trash, he maybe would throw one in there or two, but he would save them. And he would put his concoction in these, and he'd squeeze, and he'd shit down the tier, and you could smell it, and it was nasty. And it was funny because that was 2 years before we got the ABs, and we were talking about sensory deprivation at the ADX and how some of your senses are lost, like communication, and other ones are heightened, like listening. Your sense of smell heightens. It's all just part of isolation. And when Gibson hit that top tier, he was like, who shit down your tier? That was like 2 years ago. Like he could still see it, like see the walls, and it was crazy. But yeah, this Helm dude, he was insane. And he probably did it 4 or 5 times a week. And we'd pull him out. We'd have to put him in a Hannibal Lecter chair because he'd spit and shit. And we put him on the rec yard, and we'd bring in a crew of inmates in hazmat suits to clean and spray chemicals. Well, they got tired of cleaning his fucking cell. So when they sprayed the chemicals, they just left it, and we'd throw Helm back in there. Well, I went on vacation, and I came back, and I was like, where's Helm at? And he's like, oh, he's on the rec yard. And I went out there, and this dude was covered from head to toe in a rash. And I go, what's that from? And he's like, those chemicals, man. He goes, dude, I'm done. I can't do this. I'm done. So yeah, that was Helm.
How about Jeff Milton and Joe Burke in the ADX? You ever run into them guys from Boston? Oh, you didn't work in the ADX.
No.
You just had Barry Mills and all them come over from the ADX.
Yeah, that Pelican Bay.
David Jimenez wants to know, well, I just lost his comment. Man, he might get mad at me. If I don't see your comment, you can put it on a super chat for $4.99. We'll see it. If anyone knows anyone going to prison, they'll have them listen to this dude. How do you treat informants inside? Do they get extra perks, or do you not show love for stitches or for snitches?
I don't show any love for chomos, snitches. That's where it crosses over because I hate snitches on my side. But typically we weren't informed, you know, of you know, a dude that snitched on whoever. You know, you could read his PSI, but you know, they'd be reading every inmate, you know, in the institution. So they wouldn't really tell us. You know, I had no respect for the dudes coming up to my office and like, hey man, you know, hey, there's this dude over there. I was like, man, I don't want to hear it, man. You want to go to SHU? That's cool. Otherwise, go back to your house.
I'm trying to look at all these, man. My boy Joe, what's up, Joe Farouk? He could have. No, we don't bite. Hold on. You never witnessed an execution before, right?
No.
Danielle Foster sent Troy Kell some money. That's what's up. Appreciate you helping out. Appreciate everybody, man. Let me see. Chad, what up, brother? Ernest Strunk. If you crapped on the floor, you'd get whooped and then make you eat that shit straight up. That's your home. Like it or not, so you're respected as such, LB Green. I'm trying to look and see if there's any questions that I missed. Country wants to know, do you think what you saw in prison affected you mentally at all?
Like we talked about in the last one, the only thing I took away was that real bad Jomo case. That kind of haunts me. I shouldn't have read that dude's PSI. He was 32 years old, and he was doing, I think he was on his first 6 months of a 58-year sentence. And he's the dude in SHU. When I was a SHU lieutenant, I would ignore all the time. I couldn't stand that dude. But that's probably the one thing that haunts me the most.
So this chick said, okay. Working in the juvenile facility, it felt like I was incarcerated too while I was there. Did it feel the same in the federal prison system for you?
No.
You were in jail?
No, man. It was so weird. It was so like I adjusted to it. It was like a job, you know. I'd come in. Yeah, it was crazy because, you know, when I first came in, so in August of 92, we did our little tour and then we'd always been up in the admin building for like the first 2 days, and we hit the compound, and I was fucking naive, bro. I was like, who are all these motherfuckers wearing green jackets? And this chick was like, they're inmates. And I'm like, inmates? They're supposed to be locked down. She's like, no. These dudes are, they got jobs, and yeah, you're around them all the time. So no, I didn't feel like I was locked in anywhere. And no,
Gary Davis, thank you, man. We appreciate you. Curtis Lux, my guy, says, how often does SHU falsify lockup orders?
I wouldn't say falsify, but they fuck them up all the time. There was this dipshit lieutenant I worked with that would screw up the lockup order all the time, and of course the inmate gets this lockup order, and it's the wrong one with the wrong number on it. Guess what you got to do with him? You got to release him.
Do they get it when they mess up? There's administration on them, like, yo, dude, what's up, man?
Oh, no. I hammered this dude all the time. I had to work with this idiot, and I'd hammer him all the time, man. I was like, geez, it's a revolving door out of SHU because of your lockup orders, you dipshit. And so, yeah, it was just, the paperwork in SHU. It's got to be tight.
Someone said, shout out to Tim for kind of sounding like an old Dan Aykroyd.
Old Dan Aykroyd.
Holy shit. Yo, Chad, thanks for helping Tommy. We need more people like you instead of the rats that put them in there in the first place. Yeah, so, let me say this, too, while we're on here. There's, like, two things I want to address so everybody knows. The other day, I did a video with my buddy Tree. I was looking down, typing while he was talking. I don't want people to think I wasn't interested in what he was saying, but while we were doing the video, I was sick. I was trying to focus for an hour so that I could put a video up. I'm doing the video, right, Tim? And it comes up and says I have to do something with my Zoom, like pay some money. So I'm on here while he's on here. I'm trying to like look at him and pull up my credit card and trying to do this stuff on the computer so that the thing wouldn't shut off on me, because it was going to shut off in the middle of the interview, which eventually it did. Everybody don't know that. Then we loaded right back up. I thought I fixed it. 40 minutes later, it shuts off. That's why I rushed the video at the end to get him off, and we ended up doing a part 2. And then the other thing is, today, I got a message from Tommy Reynolds. Some people might watch the Jimmy Calandra show, right? Me and Tommy Reynolds were like this in prison. He was my buddy. We walked the yard. I'd go out and work out every morning, 5:30 in the morning, whatever, 6 when the gates popped at Raybrook. He'd come out at 7:30 when I got done working out. We'd walk the yard every day. I did his compassionate release motion. I helped him a lot while we were in prison, trying to get some time back for him, but we were successful today on his compassionate release motion. We got 6 years knocked off his sentence.
Awesome. Awesome.
Tommy's a really good dude, man. He changed his life. He did some bad shit in his life. I'll probably do a story about it, but we won that case, man, today, so that made me feel good.
Congratulations.
Tommy changed his life, man. He was he did some bad shit in his life, but he's definitely worthy of a second chance, man.
Hey, you brought up just bringing up that name, and then a couple questions ago that you asked about inmates that I feel that were somewhat wronged, and what's his name? He was at the ADX. He killed the cop in Marion. What's his name? They buried him.
Silverstein?
What was his name?
Tommy Silverstein?
Yeah. They did that dude all day wrong. Okay, come on. Back in the day, you have a riff, with an officer. That officer pokes and pokes and pokes. You corner a dog and you kick that dog. And then when it bites you, you want to get pissed. You know what I mean? I'm not condoning what he did, but they did him all day wrong.
They definitely destroyed him mentally and emotionally. Gary Davis, this is a really good dude. He did a bunch of time, I think, in Ohio. We're probably going to do an interview soon. He said, so if a solid white dude standing strong and alone gets jumped, does he get any love by you on the write-up? Like, I had a cop write me up before where I had an incident in Youngstown, Ohio, where this dude wasn't liked. He was a Hispanic dude. He was pointing at the Scrabble table, and I'm like, look, bro, mind your business, man. And he said, I don't like you, and he brushed me. And for real, man, not on no tough guy shit, but I got up and beat. I'm going to bring a kid on that was my celly. But, man, I beat this kid senseless. And the cop was a black cop that wrote it up. And really, he wrote it up in favor of me. And, in Youngstown, Ohio, you could have self-defense back then. None of them people knew what they were doing. They took all these people off the street and gave them jobs. Like, you want to be a correctional officer? Yeah, come on in. We just opened the place.
Yeah, back in the 90s, man, if a solid dude got got, put up a fight and he got sucker punched or he got pig piled, we would look out. Incident reports, obviously shots. You have 24 hours to serve them. And sometimes I would like change the date. I'd look out for him.
How about Joey Testa? Was Joey Testa at Terminal Island when you were there?
So I read that in the comments, the last interview. Franchise, Michael Franchise and Joey Testa, they were at Lompoc. They weren't at TI. They, obviously, Michael's out. He's doing his thing. Testa is, I believe, still at Lompoc. I would have to look it up. He may have been moved. But the only guys, when I hit TI, the mob ran the yard. But it was like, Gambino associates. So we had a Gambino on the compound, but no association with the Gambinos. He was a mob guy. We had a couple of other guys, and they would have saved seating during basketball games. They ran numbers, but no, those guys weren't at TI.
Okay, let me look and see what else is on here. Someone said I heard a rumor, man, that about me being sick. Look, man, it wasn't COVID. I took you know what though, man? When you take the COVID test at home, you don't really want to stick that thing in your nose.
Nope.
I took the COVID test. I put it on there. It came back negative, man. But I think I might have told you there was one day, man, where I was like, damn, I told my wife, man, I'm in rough shape, man. I feel like I'm dying at 2 a.m. And I still got up and did a video. I ended up doing a compassionate release, but I would be up for 2 hours and then I would just feel like exhausted. I feel real hungry and I could eat something that big and then I felt bloated and then I was hungry again. It was just, man, I don't know what the hell I had, man, but I had something. So everybody,
you sent it out here. That's what I apologize to the viewers. I'm all stuffed up. I got a cold or something.
All right. So there's dudes on here talking shit, man. Hey, dudes come on here and talk shit, man. Like this isn't a politic YouTube channel, dude, where I'm not into prison politics, man. I'm into, being home and being a husband and a father and trying to do the right thing, bro. Winning cases for people like Tommy Reynolds that deserves to get out.
Let them talk, man. We're just keeping it real.
So Danielle Foster says, what's going to happen to Casey White when he gets to the shoe? Staff going to fuck him up? Will he ever get a roll of TP again? The dude that escaped. I mean, will he ever get toilet paper again, or the cops going to beat him up down there in that county jail? He's probably not going to be back in that county jail long.
He might have a rough time in county, but he's going to get moved, and he's just going to be another fucking number.
Vando, he answered that question already, bro, where he didn't have no love for him, bro. Curtis Lux, we had the new COVID. It wasn't that bad. It was like a cold for the whole family. Man, I wonder if it was the new COVID that I had, like this new strain that they were talking about. I don't know, man. I was in bad shape, bro. I really felt like, damn, man. One night I was just like, I said, man, I've been through too much, Tim, for my story to end like this, man, in my bedroom, right?
No.
Well, no, I can't. But man, I was pretty messed up. I'm not sure if you covered this, but what kind of CA? I don't know what he meant. What kind of Cali? I don't know. Shy till I die. Resend that question, man. Colby Montgomery says, I like this guy. I like you too, man. I don't hate cops, man, because they're cops. You know what I mean? I don't hate you because you were a prison guard. I just like cops and guards that do bullshit to people, though.
Yeah, it was all about respect, man. Like I said, it was a judge's signature that sent me into the Corps instead of county jail. So I feel that's where, I don't know, it's just you respect all people depending on, it doesn't matter what they did unless you're a chomo.
Ernest Strunk says, Chad, my boy, Xavier said hello. Xavier, man, hello. I hope you're watching, man. And I hope you and your dad are doing good. I told him to get you a pizza with some of that money. I hope he did that, bro. Stu said, I'm a fake AB. You got me wrong, bro. Definitely not me, my boy. So people come on here and just talk shit. You know what I mean? Like, I don't.
How can you be a fake AB?
Definitely not. How common is substance abuse among staff? Good question.
Oh, yeah. So, we're piss tested for, obviously opiates and marijuana and stuff. But a dude can come in with a tackle box full of Percocets or Vicodin and fucking be high all day at work. Yeah, I ran into that a lot.
Someone, KWP said, Chad, is the Southern Brotherhood active in the federal system? I don't think I ever met any of the Southern Brotherhood dudes, man, in any place I'd been. Joe's glad we brought you back. Yeah, definitely Tommy deserves to be out. I wonder how he feels about Jimmy now. Tommy's a really good dude, man. And believe it or not, he's a real Christian, but, he has snapped a few times. He had a celly that I probably shouldn't talk about it on here. Well, he's got his compassionate release already. He had a celly, man, that he just snapped on one day, man. Sometimes that stuff happens. Glad to see a Bills fan. Hello from Buffalo, New York. Bella Rose, we appreciate you. From Rochester, New York to Buffalo. What's up? Yo, Chad, what is your daily routine? Wake up and work on videos? Take us through it. My daily routine. So my daily routine is usually if you see me respond to you on Facebook at like 5:30 in the morning, that's what on YouTube, that's what I do first thing in the morning. Sometimes I'll do videos if I'm just talking at 5:36 in the morning, send them over to my editor, let him take care of some stuff. And then I start working on legal cases, man. Like I wrote a compassionate release today for this dude, David Phillips, man. And this is like the wildest case I ever seen, bro. And I'm going to talk a little bit about it while you're on here. This dude gets arrested, but his parents just died. He's going nuts. These cops hate him. He's old country boy out in the woods. They're cooking meth. He starts telling that he's like in a mental psychotic state. He starts telling the cops that he killed a couple Mexicans. He tied them up. He put anchors on their legs. And he hit them on a military base where there's explosives, so the cops couldn't go search for them because it was too dangerous. But this shit was all a lie. And when he pleads guilty, he goes and pleads guilty. He thinks he's getting 10, 15 years. The judge says, you know what? You killed those people. And he never killed anyone, man. There's no proof that he killed. He didn't kill anyone, man. It was all shit he made up when he was going through he hadn't slept in 10, 11 days. And he had one of the worst judges in North Carolina. And the judge gives him life. Who the hell cops out the life?
Oh, geez.
And now he's stuck in prison with no way to get out. He didn't get sentenced. He didn't get arrested for murder because there were no murders. He took a lie detector test issued by the government. He failed it where he said, yeah, I killed those people. He failed that, but the judge still used that and said, you know what? You're a danger to the community. You killed a bunch of people that we can't find. I'm giving you life. And he has no way to get back into court because the judge actually sentenced him for the drugs, but used that stuff in his mind to say you're a danger to the community. And I'm working on that case, man. And honestly, David Phillips, man, I hope he gets out of jail. I'm going to do a video probably about him, and we're going to do what we can, man. You know what I mean?
That's crazy. That's crazy.
So let me see. The CO probably had a hot wife, nice house. He was cool as hell. And these junkies are calling it turning point for me. What? I don't know. I missed some stuff in here, but it's all good, man. Please like and share these videos. People, sometimes we just click and watch, forget to like. Hit that like button, man. We appreciate you if you hit it, right? Can you help with legal cases if the person is locked up in a state pen, Mississippi to be exact? Yasmin, I don't really, man, I'm so overwhelmed with federal cases, and I don't know the Mississippi law over there. I've never done a case in Mississippi, done a few in New York, stuff like that. So it's all good. The homie hangout, can't call it with him, but tapping in with Chad. The homie hangout, man, I appreciate you. I think you texted me, but while you were texting me, I was setting this thing up and wasn't able to get back to you, man, but I will get back to you, bro. I appreciate you, man. Smokey, with respect, thank you for being here. Good night. So, people do appreciate you coming on here. You got to, you're probably in the cop I had on from Colorado that was lieutenant the other day. It was ADX. He went through some shit, man, but you two guys really kept it 100, man. You guys kept it real, like you come on here and say it how it is. And that's what I'm looking for. I've interviewed other, cops, guards where they're like, I don't really want to talk about that. I don't want to. Well, what are you doing coming on then? What did you contact me for, dude?
It's just the biggest thing with me, as well as most inmates, is respect. You know what I mean? And I just did it to support my family. You know what I mean? It was like I could have gone either way, man. And I happened to join the Marine Corps. I got out of the Corps. I wanted to keep my federal time. So I went to a job fair and this came up and I was like, fuck it, I'll do it. And, but like I said, I didn't go in there demanding respect and you got to respect my badge. And I'm an authority figure and I just did my job.
Nothing wrong with that, man. Those were the SEALs that I respected. The guys that were always the same, even if they were assholes. I knew what to expect. Shy till I die. Any regrets as a CO when you first started that made you think I won't be doing that again, or treat someone like that again as a new CO? You seem like a real deal cool CO.
No, never. Nope. Yeah, I don't regret anything about my career. Like I said, I kept it real. I wasn't hated. You know, I got along with my peers. You know, it was just a job with a lot of common sense. You know, I wasn't hungry to lock dudes up. I wasn't hungry to, you know, to start shit. Obviously I wanted steel off the compound, and I, you know, worked my scams on getting steel off the compound. But, you know, people need to understand, like I'm sure you know, that any given time the inmate population can take over that fucking prison. They can take it over. So it's just how it's how you treat them. You know what I mean?
Yep, 100%. So, Tim, I'm gonna get ready. We're gonna get ready to close because I'm gonna do an interview tonight with this dude that was an arms dealer, right? We got a book coming out, and
oh, cool.
These are pretty big deal. I think we're gonna end up doing that. I did a video on Chevy, man, and I hope people like how I did it. Chevy was a dude that tried to escape from USP Lee. I was with Chevy in USP Lee. He actually drew. You probably can't see because the thing's on there, but he actually drew this tattoo for me that's on my chest. And I used to think he was just a hillbilly. And then when I looked up his case and read the stuff about him, I'm just like, wow, they're like, this dude was like the terrorist that you never knew. You never really knew about. There's a bunch of stories on him on YouTube and the internet. But, you know, I'm actually, you know, I'm coming from my perspective because I was actually doing time with this cat. And I didn't know some of the shit that he did. And I don't know, people accepted what he did, I guess. But now that I read it, I'm like, wow, he was in a USP and we didn't know that. I just thought he was like some white supremacist, crazy ass white dude that did some crazy shit. And I didn't know exactly what he did, but he did some really bad shit. And what happened was, you know, one of the guards over there, you know, I'm friends with, we communicate. I'm trying to get him to come on the show. He's been through some shit. He was actually the cop that when I got stabbed and I was like, yo, I'm stabbed. He picked me up and I'm a pretty big boy, man. Him and another cop picked me up off the ground and ran me to medical. And I had just, you know, recently seen my buddy get stabbed. And I thought, man, this cat's going to die. So when I got stabbed, I'm instantly thinking, damn, I'm going to die. I'm going to die. That's what I'm thinking. This kid hit me somewhere where I'm not going to make it. So, you know, I ended up communicating with him a little bit, but these dudes get stuck one of the dudes gets stuck in the razor wire at USP Lee. Do you remember when that happened in 2014?
I don't really remember that. I mean, if you want to do another segment, I got some escape stories that are crazy.
I think me and you are going to we'll do another one. It might not be alive, but we'll definitely do another one.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I'm going to get ready to close. Let everybody know, man, we appreciate you coming on. Hope everybody appreciates Tim being here. Blood on the Razor Wire TV. If you haven't hit that like button, go ahead and hit it. Leave a comment. Keep supporting the channel, and hopefully it's going to grow. I'm going to start doing some different things for the channel, and hopefully it helps. So I'm going to close the show. Let everybody know, man, I appreciate you. Blood on the Razor Wire TV. With respect. Have a good night. Tim, thank you.
Thank you.
All right. I'll see you guys later.
Can you still hear me? You still hear me?